Hello and welcome. It is Friday, the 30th of September 2022. My name is Steve Pugh, and kind of most Fridays, it depends if there's a national funeral or whichever. I do a live stream and podcast basically on Friday mornings where we discuss topical interest stuff for the week, and also we share business strategy ideas and concepts with the idea to hopefully try and help you make real progress in your business or career. We have a business course called the Roadmap Alternative MBA. We're in 34 different countries now, as far afield as Thailand to Kenya, China, Ukraine, USA. And what we're really looking to do is share real world practical business skills with the aim to basically empower communities and people to make that next step. That we absolutely 100% love all traditional forms of business education. But the truth is, it excludes a hell of a lot of people, either on cost, that those courses are mega expensive, time in that, either the hours and the 30 hours that they take a week to actually do, or the fact that they don't work around your lifestyle and looking after kids. The academic requirements, there's hundreds of different barriers to education that hold people back, which I believe is unfair. So what we really try and do is make business education accessible, but do that in a way that hopefully is accessible to 5 billion people. That as long as you have a smartphone, what we're trying to do is build a platform to share really good, useful information, no fluff, no jargon, just the really good stuff that can help you make money and make progress really quickly, and actually do it in a way which is a bit fun and it's a little bit different. And we do that from here in the UK. So my name is Steve Pugh. I'm a chartered mechanical engineer, and my day job is as a management consultant to help people grow and turn around their companies. So I kind of do this for real. But also on the platform, my job and what I'm trying to do is help empower some really, really good people to give them their own show and actually help different voices from within the community actually have their own platform to talk about stuff which is interesting to them. So this is my show. This is the one that I do every Friday morning. And what I try and do is just share topics that I've had through the week, but also just be a place to, if you tune in, I'd love to know where in the world you're watching from, but also just celebrate some of the kind of good stuff and the positive news stories and just little progress bits that you've made this week. Because for everyone, if you're looking to grow your business or career, nobody does it in one go. It's thousands and thousands of tiny little decisions and whichever that actually start to build up. And essentially, when we're trying to build a community of people that look after each other, help each other, and almost we're all in this journey together, that's kind of what we do. So I do love it when people get in touch on the live stream. If you comment, it should pop up on my screen. It might even pop up on your screen as well. And then yes, that's how this kind of works. So it is genuinely 9:04 here in the UK. I'm based in Gateshead, in the northeast of England, and I love it just doing this to actually interact with different people. And one of the things that I always find quite funny is that, rightly or wrongly, you get a hell of a lot of people that watch, but very, very few actually ever interact. But I do genuinely kind of love it when you do. So in terms of well, I'll do my updates for the week because hopefully that's quite interesting that people see kind of progress. And part of the reason why I love to do that is actually you get a lot of people that talk the talk. They pretend that they're magicians at business and then make millions of pounds, but you never actually see them do anything. So one of the things that I like to talk about is that I'm on this big 10, 20-year journey with what we're trying to do here, but actually it's celebrating and sharing the small wins and also the things that go wrong. That in the past I've talked about this thing that I have called an Elgato Stream Deck, which is this fancy unit with all the buttons, and I use that to control all of the stuff that you see. And then literally 5 minutes before we went live, it stopped working. And like, these things happen. But actually, just go old school, go manual mouse button click thing, and that kind of works. But the point is, things go wrong, and I shouldn't have clicked that update this morning, but I decided to. But it's a first world problem. But actually, in terms of some studio upgrades, we actually have some new lighting, which you probably won't notice, but it's really kind of cool for me just to show little bits of progress. And also, there's been a huge amount of work done behind the scenes on your website, the new app, which is hopefully going to land, probably go public in January. But there's all this really good stuff that we're looking to do. That at the moment, when we offer people free places on the course, we send them the physical packs and bucks, which I post around the world, and they go to 34 different countries. But actually, with the app and the new website, it's really scaling that to a whole new level in a way that it's very expensive and it takes a long time to actually send these things out. But actually, doing it digitally is a much better way to do it. That, yes, for paid users and people that apply on the guest list can still get a free copy of the book, but actually it's one of the kind of things that I've done as well. So if you manage to tune in, please kind of get in touch, and I love it when people do. In terms of stuff that I've done this week, I had a fantastic interview with James on Monday. So James has just started a brand new business with some of his colleagues, Luke and Katie, which is a PR and marketing business called Bottled Imagination. Those guys were all formerly at Rise at 7, which is a really famous marketing and PR social search first agency that do really kind of good stuff. And what I wanted to do was just both pick his journey, because again, he shared that actually he didn't go to university at 18. He waited because he was pursuing his kind of tennis career. But it's that journey of kind of success and failure is what we all kind of go through. That actually, for me, it's really important to kind of talk about that and just share a good, honest kind of progress. I'm hoping to hopefully schedule in some more live sessions with Ashley and Ifeanyi as well, who are two of our presenters. What else have I been up to? So I've done studio upgrades, the new app, and new website. Yes, actually, I've been really good to meet some really fantastic people lately. One of the things that when you do content and you create it online, you never know who's going to watch or who's going to see it. And often people don't interact, and it is what it is. But it's brilliant when people do, and I had a brilliant chat with someone yesterday. And what we're essentially really looking to do is over the next kind of year or so, once things are properly up and live, is to actually do partnerships with really good organizations. So I know I do stuff with Michelle at Kind Currency, but actually different charities. Like, I'd love, one of my affirmations is to hopefully do something with like the Prince's Trust to really help, empower young people who might not have many other options, who want to start a business, to get free access to really good kind of stuff. And that's true across the board. And it's just nice when people actually kind of reach out and, kind of go on that journey with you. So in terms of the topics I'm going to talk about today, I have inspiration from London, because actually the reason why I didn't do this last week is I was actually in London. We went down for the Queen's funeral, and then to combine that with some of the stuff. So I want to talk about that. Celebrating people that are starting lots of new things. This is really true that especially this time of year, you have people starting uni, starting new jobs, starting PhDs, starting businesses. But I think we should really kind of celebrate that. In one of my businesses, which is an offshore energy business, we had a chap called Harry actually do some work experience. But actually, I just want to talk about the importance of real world life experience, both in work and in life, and kind of what that does and why that's important. And then last but not least, I'm going to do one on healthy body, healthy mind, and actually how some things that I've kind of been through recently have really kind of changed me, but actually for the better. And it was just something I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to get a quick sip of water, but please kind of get in touch if you tune in. I'd love to know, just as hello, where you're watching from, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon. Okay. So I'm going to start with my London kind of trip. One of the most important things for any business is to really have inspiration about where do you get your ideas from, where do you take the business forward, what do you do next? And actually one of the hardest things is to actually get the ideas in the first place. One of the places that I always recommend people go is that if you've ever heard of something called TED Talks, they're really good. But actually look both in your own industry to see best practice and see what other people do, but also look in other industries. And although I'm a mechanical engineer, so I have a technical industry background, when I look at the business education space, that's great, and that's what I look to compete directly against and outdo. But one of the things that's really important is to also look at sectors which are adjacent or have stuff that you can learn, which actually can really add value to your product or service and give you a big kind of jump forward. So I've listed down a few, and actually these are just things that kind of work for me, but I'd love to know for you, where do you get your inspiration from? And actually just, what kind of works for you? So the first one, which was a big inspiration for me, is that there's a company called Peloton, who basically are an exercise and fitness tech kind of company that really kind of transformed the ability to do live fitness classes in the home. So they do a range of bikes and treadmills and stuff. And actually based on that and their kind of model, one of my dreams was to try and create the Peloton of business education. So with Peloton, you can go on and you can choose your different presenters, your different classes on demand and watch whatever you want, whenever you want. Or you can join a live session like this and kind of get involved. And what I'd love to do, and this is part of my dream for 5-10 years in the future, is to have that kind of thing where basically at the moment we have 3 presenters. I'm hoping to build that more, but actually people present in Spanish and German and Chinese and different kind of languages and cultures, so that it's relevant for different people, because not everyone wants to learn from a middle-aged white guy that speaks English. And actually I'm okay with that. But the one thing that I thought was really cool was that down one of the back streets, because my wife and I, we like to wander around cities when we go places, was actually to find the London Peloton studio. And for me, this is a room which I have in a co-working space, which is where I operate the studio from. But actually they had like a proper TV studio with an entrance in Studio 1, Studio 2, and the setup, and they invite people in to join classes live and that kind of thing. And it's inspiration from stuff that helps set the goal and the ambition that actually for me really kind of works. Next, actually, there was a makeup brand. So my wife loves makeup. So when we go around shopping, she'll look at all the stuff. But actually, I always like to look at the brands and how do they sell themselves. And actually, there was a makeup brand called Glossier. And what was quite funny was that their logo is very similar to Supreme, if you know Supreme. So it was very bold. But actually, their Covent Garden store was all about brand experience. It wasn't so much about selling stuff, although that was important, but it was trying to make the user feel special, and just all the little touches, which are called delighters, just really kind of give value and help kind of just inspire the customer that they feel some sort of affiliation with the brand. And one of the things that I loved was actually when their stuff, so you would go find out what you want, you place the order like an Apple store, they do it on the little gadget, and it will get sent up from downstairs to the person that gives you your product. But say in the Apple store, they walk through the back, get the box and bring it through, which is the simple way to do it. But in this store, they actually had, it was like a really fancy mechanism that sent up your bag with your name on it. So it had Lisa written on it. But actually it was clever. It just made it special. It made you want to take a photo of the thing and talk about it. But it's the magic is in actually kind of making it special. And what I always try and do is just look at stuff like that, which you can apply to your brand. How can you actually add delight to your customer in a way which maybe nobody else does? And I think that was quite cool. On the flip side though, from a disability accessibility thing, there was probably a flight of 15 steps to get up to get into their Covent Garden store, which isn't great for a lot of people. And it's just really interesting to see companies that do things incredibly well, but then maybe fall down in other areas. But that's the whole point of where you get inspiration and ideas from, so that when you look to create your product or service or business, there are kind of things that you can do to really help make that work. Yeah, and then one of the other things as well, so we'd stayed in a hotel at near King's Cross, and next to King's Cross train station, there's the new Google headquarters, which I think is $1 billion building, which is massive. It looks like the Death Star. And on that one of the things that I find quite funny is that in the northeast of England, we have fantastic businesses, fantastic people, but it's not as big as London, the skyscraper. Do we have it? I think we technically maybe have 2 or 3 skyscrapers, but not compared to the big cities. But when you go to a big city like London or New York, the scale of the opportunity is just massive. So actually getting to see the Google headquarters and what they're looking to do sets ambitions that is, top level. For there's no reason why your business can't reach that level. When Sergey and the guys really started and invented Google, they probably didn't have ambitions to be at that level, but it just happened through constant hard work. And actually I find that really inspiring. And then likewise, we walked around the city, went up the Shard, which is quite cool, which is the tallest building in Europe, or I think it is, and also somewhere called the Sky Garden as well. But actually just when you can see the scale of London from a business opportunity point of view, there are millions of people there that can buy into your product or service. And sometimes you just need that inspiration to really help you set the goals for what you want to achieve. Then last but not least, there was 2 more things. One is independent shops. I love walking down back streets to really find artists and really kind of cool stuff. And one of the big themes that seemed to come out from a lot of different brands was customization. So if you're a sneaker company and you sell Nike shoes, as a lot of people do, How can you make your brand and your store stand out? And one way to do that is customize the shoes. But this is true with artwork, it's true with loads of really good stuff. So again, for your brand or for me with the roadmap, how for the customers can I customize the packs and do things that both make it personal and unique to them, but actually make them feel special, make sure that they feel, that they've got something that nobody else has. And it's these kind of things that you can really build into your business that don't actually have to cost any money, but it's really just thinking outside the box of stuff that you can do. And then last but not least, and I put a post out on social about this, was I love going to the BBC. So outside the BBC, there's a coffee shop, which is a Nero's, which is inside the kind of horseshoe, if you've ever seen the building. And you can sit there and have a coffee and just watch celebrities and presenters and stuff just go in and out and do their day-to-day stuff. But essentially what I have here is a mini TV live stream kind of studio. And the ultimate 100-year established people that do that in the UK arguably is the BBC. And I just find it really inspirational to kind of see that machine kind of work. And then also on some of the life goals type stuff as well. Just, one day I would love to present there or be part of it or just get involved or be interviewed about what we're doing with the roadmap. But the whole point is that it's really good to expose yourself to these new things, these new encounters, and actually just use it as motivation to help set your goal and direction for the future. I find it really useful. It's one of the big things that I love doing when I go away on a trip, is really just to learn kind of new stuff. So that's quite cool as well. And I just wanted to share that with you. So if you catch this on YouTube or any of the other channels, please like and subscribe. And then actually, I'd love to know for your business, what are your hopes, dreams, goals, and ambitions? And also, where do you get your inspiration from as well? Okay. So at 9:18, I'm going to jump on to the next one. There's been loads of really fantastic people lately. It must just be it aligns with university terms and stuff, but there's all these really great people starting new adventures. We have friends that are starting PhDs at university. I have family that are going to university for the first time for their undergrad. We have lots of new people who are starting their business themselves and that whole roller coaster that they're about to go on. We've got people who are starting new relationships. We have people that are ending relationships and just going into the unknown. But actually, it's a really exciting time just to have control over your destiny. And good or bad, we never know what's going to happen next. But actually celebrate the journey. I saw a really interesting podcast yesterday. So I follow a company called Wonder Films on YouTube. And they were interviewing a guy who has 5 million followers on social platforms and he does a lot of TikTok. And based out of Middlesbrough, where he's from, he's now famous. And what was really interesting is that growing up, he's done YouTube for like 10, 12 years. And he always had the ambition to get 1 million followers and do all this stuff. And what he thought was, when he gets to that point, that his life would change. He would have everything he wanted. He'd have loads of money and he'd be really happy. And what was really interesting is that now he's arguably less happy than he's ever been. There's lots of pressure and also like social trolling that kind of sadly goes on when people criticize him and stuff. And it's just one of the things that he said in the podcast was actually how the journey is so much more important than the view from the top. And you do see this a lot where professional athletes or business people or whoever, you set a goal and you think that once you achieve that goal, your life will be perfect. One of my classic ones is a boxer called Tyson Fury. And for him, when he won the world title against Klitschko, it was fantastic. But very soon after, he realized that his life didn't actually change and he didn't have a goal of what was next. And he actually spiraled into depression and had a really, really tough time for quite a few years. And it's that balance of where people that we still perceive as being on the top of the world, actually the goal itself or the reward, the money, isn't actually what will make you happy. For me, and this is something I've kind of tried to embrace, is that when you embrace a task, which is arguably never ending, that you can add value to and learn and struggle and try and give more value back to the community, it's actually the journey that you should enjoy. And with my business now, I always say that when you first start a business, there's the hardest bit, which is to go from day one to break even. So you generally lose money for your first 6 months, year, just as you try and get established to get your product out there. And then at a certain point, you start to make money. And once you have that, then it's up to you about how fast you grow and what your long-term plan is. Because hopefully you should survive if you're making money. But once you get to that point, it's up to you. You're arguably in the end game. You're in that long period where you can take that business as far as you want, but actually do it in a way that you're chasing this huge, audacious goal that you want to do, which is almost unattainable, but actually enjoy the process. If you set a goal which is to earn £1 million, you might do that at some point and then think, well, actually, my life's the same as it was. What's my goal next? What's the whole point of all of this? As for us, with, you know, we're trying to make business education accessible to 5 billion people. That's a ridiculous goal. Who would ever try and do that? And especially when you're trying to do it for free, that ironically, the chasing of that goal is what will actually kind of make me happy in the long term, and hopefully pay my bills and keep me satisfied and content and give me a challenge for the next kind of 30, 40 years. But I know I'll never do it, but I'm actually quite happy with that. But I always find it interesting when I try and learn from different people and different kind of data sources, just to see people who I've never met and they've never met me, just talk about how they had a goal, they achieved it, and actually the achievement of the goal itself wasn't actually what they thought it was going to be. And I try and take that to heart. As humans, if we don't learn from other people, what's the point? That's how we learn and improve and grow. But actually, it was just something that I wanted to kind of talk about. But actually, the journey of all of the life experiences that we all go on, I'm genuinely proud. I'm proud of people that try and do something new and they just enjoy it and they give their heart to it. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. And we just kind of continue. But it was just something that I wanted to talk about and celebrate. Okay. So how is everyone? Is everyone ready for the weekend? It's been a pretty tough week. One of my tasks for this weekend is for the new app and website. We've got a whole portal, which is going to be a bit like Netflix, but for business education type stuff. And I need to record probably about 50 videos, which is all to do with tutorials on different stuff. And I probably have, probably about 52, and that'll probably take me until November-ish. So we're actually going to launch before they're all finished. But it's that kind of thing of, you have your work week, you have your passion projects, but it's really useful to have a goal and have something which always keeps you occupied. That keeps me interested. And I've mentioned before how most of my day job is to do management consultancy for other people, where I just do stuff for other people, which I love, and I love working as part of those teams. But actually what really gives me contentment and fulfillment and the drive to get up every day is wanting to work with great people and just achieve something new and really kind of work hard as well. So yes, even on weekends, I kind of work on that as well. But I really celebrate anyone that does whatever it is that you do on weekends, be it fitness or family time or work or whatever it is as well. Okay, where are we on? 9:24. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and this is especially true for younger people, but actually it's true for everyone, it's the importance of work experience. When I went through university, when I graduated, I don't know about you, but for me, it was almost where I thought, okay, I know everything. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to smash this career. And yes, you probably have the technical skills to do whatever it is that you want to do. But actually life experience is the most important thing. Yes, you have the rule book for what should happen, but the human interaction, the nature, how things go wrong, what breaks, what doesn't break, what's going to happen, being able to plan, being able to see the unexpected, all actually comes to real life work experience. And then largely what I get paid for when I work with companies is to help negotiate contracts and run businesses and plan what to do next and know what not to do. But I wasn't born with that kind of knowledge. And this really comes from life experience and work experience. So if you are 15, 16, starting to think about what you want to do next, if you want to be a chef, go and work in a kitchen for a bit, get a feel for what you kind of want to do. And it might be that you hate it. Back in the day, I thought about doing radiology, which is all to do with x-rays and MRI scans. I went and did the stuff, but actually I knew it wouldn't keep me interested for that long. So I went into engineering instead. But the point is I at least went and tried it. And then in one of my businesses, which is a subsea energy equipment business, we had a guy from Hull University called Harry come in and do a week's work experience. And it's great because he gets to get a feel for what a real active manufacturing offshore energy business does and feels like, and whichever, so that when he goes back to uni, he might apply back for a job next year or think, you know what, this isn't for me. But you don't know that until you kind of try. And then likewise, as you go through your career yourself, what people essentially pay for, it's actually quite easy to get the skills to learn on how to do a marketing plan. What's difficult is to have the experience to know what's the right thing to do when, and actually have the confidence to share that and do that with other people. That actually, as you go through your career, so I'm 39 now, and I'm certain that when I'm 49, I'll have all of those, I'll have 10 years worth of extra kind of data points and references, which will help guide me on the decisions that I make, but also with other people. But actually, because of that, if you can ever work with other people that might be more experienced with you, or you just throw yourself into something new, really embrace the kind of learning curve and the process, because actually the stuff that you will learn and the benefit from it will far outweigh anything you ever do on any business course or university degree. But you kind of have to jump in at the deep end. And it was just something I wanted to talk about, just as a little tip, that if you're looking to maybe switch careers, see if you can just go and speak to people, get a feel for what it's like. If you're starting out in your career and you're a student, write to people and actually ask for some work experience. That's what Harry did, and he got it, and we might offer him a job. But it's that kind of real world practical, immerse yourself in these environments. You never know what it's going to be like until you do it, but I would definitely recommend it if you do. Hello, thank you for the comment. You're officially my first person to comment today, so thank you for that. It's always difficult when you speak in a room for 28 minutes and nobody comments. So Tamin, thank you. Honestly, where in the world are you watching from? I'd love to know. But no, thank you. It really makes my day when you present live, because I see this as just practice for where I want to be in 5-10 years time. But it is special when someone gets in touch, and thank you for that as well. Okay. So last but not least on this week's kind of live stream, it was something that I wanted to talk about because it's very relevant to me, but hopefully it might, add value for people as well. And it's to do with having a healthy body and a healthy mind. I've always been in relatively good shape. I was like an athlete growing up, and that I did really competitive sport with basketball, so I was in really good shape. You go through and life happens and COVID happens, and you kind of, you're not as healthy as you used to be. And I went to America back in June, and when I came back, I don't know why, but I just started to feel really dizzy. So I always had to sit down, and it just came on and off, and I was worried that there was something really seriously wrong with me, and maybe my liver or my heart or whichever. And actually, around that within my family, we have sadly a lot of history of cancer and brain tumors and heart problems. And I was worried that I had something really, really bad. So I went to the doctors. Well, being honest, I ignored it for a while. When it kept happening, then I went to the doctors. They did some blood tests, they did an ECG, and actually after I met with them, they did more blood tests and they did an ultrasound on my liver as well. And it turns out, touch some wood, that they believe that I have a fatty liver. So sadly, I do carry a bit too much weight around here. So one of the things that they really recommended that I do was basically get in better shape and also lose a bit of excess weight, because it'll help my liver process and do what it needs to do. So really to kind of get back into my fitness. And one of my goals for this year was to get all the roadmap stuff set up, then work on that. So actually when this came in, it was really good incentive to kind of do that and actually pull my finger out and really do it. So over the past month or so, I've been running. I do 10K every Sundays. The basketball season starts, so I've been training a lot more. And actually one of my recent purchases is actually a spinning bike for this office where I do Peloton classes. But the difference in how I feel and my confidence and all this great stuff is just massively different. That I have a really hard day's work. So yesterday I was in here for 7 a.m. I worked solidly until about 6 p.m. And at that point, just get 20 minutes to yourself just to kind of just thrash out and get, do whatever kind of works for you. But just as a way to kind of clear any of the stresses and stuff away, that as well as the health benefit and losing a bit of weight, just the feeling of really doing something for me really kind of works. that from a business point of view, or your career, what we're essentially trying to do is get longevity to really help you, reach that next level or reach whatever your goals are. And it's just the idea that working on your fitness, I do believe genuinely kind of helps. It also gives you a moment to yourself that if you're busy with life and kids and family, just taking half an hour to look after yourself and go for a run or go for a walk or go for a spinning class or whatever works for you actually can make a massive difference as well. And the other thing that I really kind of love is just the ability to push yourself. So I'm fitter now than I was 3 weeks ago, but actually I know where I want to be in another 6 months' time. And it's that continuous goal, as I mentioned before, just to kind of work towards something. For me, really kind of works. But again, I know that I need to manage this and balance it against other stuff in my life, my other kind of priorities, and also give myself time to recover. That's as important as well. But actually, I'd love to know for you, what do you do to look after your body in terms of what you eat, what you drink, your fitness regime? But actually also, do you find that exercise really helps with your mental health as well and just trying to de-stress? Because I've certainly kind of found that. At 9:32, I think I'm going to call it quits today. A genuine thank you to everyone that I've met this week. It is on a mission with the roadmap that we want to basically create a better world for a lot of people and give them access to good, solid business education to really help them make that next step or launch their first business or grow in their career. And what we're trying to do is create an online platform where people around the world, we want to share their stories and just empower them to help create a better life for themselves. It's a task that I've kind of set myself. One of the ways that we do that is through the book. We also do live streams, podcasts, and that kind of thing as well. You'll probably see me go on this journey, success or failure, but I'm going to do my best as well. So have a wonderful Friday. Look after yourself. Good luck with your business or your schoolwork or your career or whatever you kind of do next. I'll be back next week, hopefully with some of the guest presenters as well. So we've got some fantastic podcast guests coming up as well. Have a fantastic Friday and I'll speak to you soon. All right, cheers guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.